In the workhouses, men, women and children were kept apart. In theory, this rule could be relaxed for older couples, but in practice accommodation was rarely available, and so far no reference to this has been found in the Llanfyllin minutes. Children under 7 were allowed to see their mothers, but still had to live apart from them. At Llanfyllin as elsewhere, the dietary of the inmates had to be approved by the commissioners in London. A basic principle of workhouse life was that the standard of living should be lower than that of a laborer's family outside. Nevertheless, a basic level of nutrition had to be maintained. In November 1840, not long after the opening of the workhouse, the guardians submitted their dietary as now used. It consisted largely of porridge or gruel, bread, soup and rice pudding, with boiled meat twice a week and a salt herring once. The dietary has been preserved at the National Archives. Children in school. Children. During the 19th century, a high proportion of the workhouse inmates were children. Many were born in the workhouse, often to unmarried mothers, or were taken there as infants, and no doubt grew up accustomed to the regime. For those entering at a later stage, the change must have been traumatic. Not surprisingly, bedwetting was a problem. When the inspector, Andrew Doyle, called in 1857, he commented adversely on the state of the beds, and the guardians wrote to defend themselves. Despite their protestations, it was hard to defend putting 3 or 4 bedwetters in one bed. The guardians were anxious to place children in employment as soon as possible, often at the age of 12. Mostly this meant domestic service for the girls and farm work for the boys. The children were sent out in their workhouse uniform, though with shoes rather than clogs, which must have exposed them to ridicule. In some cases the guardians were able to find apprenticeships for the boys, though there was reluctance to pay the premium required. The minutes record a number of apprenticeship agreements, and also requests to the guardians to advertise the availability of children for work. If a child proved unsatisfactory, the employer could return him or her to the workhouse and choose a replacement. Paranormal activity. The activity ranging from footsteps, shadows and slamming doors to the sounds of children laughing, singing and crying. Even full-bodied apparitions have been witnessed, etc.